Do you have a final message for any of our listeners?
I think the closing message would be, I think this third wave, creates all kinds of interesting opportunities, but also is going to create some challenges. That's not just true for companies. That's true for each of us as individuals, each of us as citizens. Even the nature of work itself has changed a lot. There's some research that suggests that 34% of people now feel like they're part of the freelance economy. And so as you think about this third wave, it's not just about what the technology might enable or what some of the entrepreneurs and big, they're part of, kind of well-funded startups might be focusing on, or what some of the big companies, the incumbents, might be focused on. It's how each of us as individuals, kind of chooses to live our lives and kind of pursue our dreams. And I was inspired when I read that Alvin Toffler book, The Third Wave, when I was a senior in college in 1980. And I just hope others out there might be similarly inspired to think about the future in a different way by reading my book, The Third Wave, because the hope here is, and the goal of it was not just to write a book for entrepreneurs or even for business people, but for people just wanted to have a sense of where the world was going and have a little bit more clarity regarding what options they might have, and hopefully take some of that insight, take some of that understanding to make a different set of decisions that will position them better for the next 10 or 20 years, and also position their families to be better off 10 or 20 years from now.
And for all those listeners out there for whom your message resonates, which I'm sure there will be many, where can they find more of you and your message?
Well, we do have a site about the book called thirdwavebook.com. And there's several other sites that are available. One is revolution.com, which is our investment company. Another is casefoundation.org, which talks about our philanthropic work, including around entrepreneurship. And finally, we have a site called riseofrest.com. We believe one of the great opportunities in the third wave is regional entrepreneurship. But the action not going to just be in places like Silicon Valley and New York City. It's going to be all across the country, indeed all across the world. So we have a whole initiative around what we call the Rise the Rest to support entrepreneurs in all across the country in cities that are really showing remarkable momentum around startups.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the third wave today. And also, before you go, I have to sincerely thank you so much for starting A.O.L and getting me on the internet. And I'm sure this is true for so many people out there. For as an isolated kid in Nebraska, to be able to connect with people all over the world and to make my first web page and all these things, it was really powerful for me.
Well, that's great. Obviously, our goal there was to kind of level the playing field so everybody had access. It was we called it democratizing access to information by making the internet available everywhere. Now our focus is really democratizing access to entrepreneurship and opportunity, including initiatives like the Rise of Rest, and places like Nebraska, like Lincoln, are showing great momentum, but so are places like Des Moines and Madison and Detroit and Nashville and many other, Richmond, Charles, many great cities in this country are building up as entrepreneurial zones, and that's going to accelerate as this rest rises and accelerate as the third wave breaks.
Well, and actually, because all that infrastructure is there, I'm able to make this call to you from Colombia. I'm in South America right now, so
exactly right. Well, this is exactly the point that you started in Nebraska and connected through a relatively slow dial-up telephone modem.
2,400 baud.
And now you're able to connect all over the world, and now you kind of are able essentially to be your own media brand because that opportunity was enabled by the internet.
Great. Thanks so much.